cherry. Sorry, I have cherry red this time, which is the one I had over here. I'm just gonna go like in reverse now. So I'm not sure what I should talk about. So again, put in the comments. So for next time, I mean, if you feel like it, put in the comments anything you'd like me to talk about. I mentioned in the last one really quick that I recently got diagnosed with, I don't know, I took an assessment made by some like psychologists who they themselves have autism. They're women with autism, and they made an assessment keeping in mind the things that tend to go unnoticed. By others in the community. I think I'm going to do the bottom. That's two. Okay, so I wasn't sure if I should talk about this, but I keep fixating on it. So I'm just going to talk about it to get it off my chest. I was going to make it a TikTok, but I didn't get around to it. But so I was reading my Bible the other day. Well, not the other day, yesterday. I was reading my Bible, and it was chapter 1 in Esther, and I was thinking about how so often I've heard people like basically demonize Vashti when they're teaching, like there was something wrong with her. But it's like, aren't Vashti and Esther kind of the same thing? Like, didn't they do basically the same thing? They went against protocol. They did what they technically were not supposed to do, going against the orders of the king. They did the same thing. I mean, Esther was saving her people, but I mean, what's so wrong about saying no to your husband? There's nothing actually wrong with that. And then I realized that they both broke that protocol or whatever, and like broke the rules basically. But like the only difference is another man, i.e. Mordecai, he gave Esther permission, and if anything almost like guilt tripped her, like, you have to do this, even though she was afraid to. So like a man told her, is basically what she did. A man told her to break protocol, and so she did, and it's okay in the church's eyes, and it should be, she did a good thing. But also Vashti did a good thing, because like in that time period that was deeply misogynistic, and when the king had her want to parade herself around all these drunken men, that's not exactly the attitude of a man with intentions to protect his wife. And I really don't think those men would have taken into consideration like, oh, she's the queen. They would have been verbally jeering at her and stuff, and it's disrespectful. It's unpleasant, to say the least. And she had full rights to say, no, I'm not going to be paraded around like this, like I don't know. Like, she's a queen and she deserves some dignity, but the king wasn't treating her with dignity. And then he was pressured in his, like, because he was kind of getting drunk too. So he was, like, vulnerable and in his own way, susceptible to not making good decisions. And she knew that. And she had a sense of mind to reject him in that state, because a lot of mess probably would have happened if she didn't. But it was other men who were like, oh, that's inappropriate. Like, how dare she? And, like, what if all the wives start disobeying their husband and stuff? Which, good for them, if they're all gonna be treating women like objects instead of people. And so the king let misogyny lead him. And then, like, right away in chapter 2, after the fact of all that happening, it said that the king regretted what he did. He thought, after his anger cooled, it said, after his anger cooled, he thought better of his treatment of Vashti. And I think it was that he thought better of it. He's like, I'm not gonna let all these other guys, all these dude bros, like, tell me how I'm gonna treat my wife, particularly when she's not actually doing anything wrong. They just don't like it, and their fragile masculinity is getting scared because a woman said no. That he's not gonna react rashly next time, if there's a next time, you know. And that's why when Esther broke protocol and she went before the king uninvited, which could have led her to death, which is probably what happened to Vashti. They sent her away, and it's often like just a polite way of saying they, in TikTok's words, unalive her. It said, like, right away in the beginning of chapter 2 that he regretted the way he treated Vashti. He regretted everything that happened with her. And that's why it was okay with him when Esther did basically the same thing. But my question is, why is the church not okay with Vashti? Why don't they acknowledge that it was misogyny that led to her banishment? Probably because the church hasn't dealt with its own misogyny, but that's neither here nor there, I suppose. Sorry. My nose is all stuffy all of a sudden. Have some tea. A little teacup. I don't know if that makes sense what I'm saying. But, like, the church always, I've heard a lot of sermons of people saying, like, she was disrespectful to the king and disrespected him in front of all these people. That's why she was sent away. As I know, she wasn't sent away because she was disrespectful. They were disrespectful. They were misogynistic. And so they killed her, and the king regretted it. And that's why things went differently with Esther. I don't see the point of, like, putting down, like, you don't have to put down one woman to uplift another and to acknowledge the value of Esther risking her life to protect her people. I mean, that's not, to acknowledge that, you don't have to put down Vashti. You know what I mean? We don't have to put down women just to prove that another woman has done a good thing. More than one thing could be true at the same time. Men have a hard time understanding that. Have you noticed? Like, who broke them? Like, who broke men? that they don't know how to understand that, like, just because, like, for example, just because someone else in the room is smart, that doesn't mean you're stupid. You could both be smart. You both know things. But, like, men get insecure if someone else knows something, particularly if that someone is a woman. If she knows something, then they feel like it's an attack on their intelligence. It's like, just because I'm smart, that doesn't mean you're stupid. It's not like only one of us could be smart at a time. Maybe we all know things. And then, like, they get defensive, and then there's, like, mansplaining happening. It's not because they feel superior. It's because no one taught them that more than one thing is allowed to be true at the same time. Like, someone else is allowed to know things in the same room as you. And then it leaks into the sermons because they haven't healed that. And it's damaging to, like, be constantly putting down one woman in the Bible to uplift another. To say that Esther did a good thing and that her presence was valuable. That doesn't mean you have to demonize Vashti. I don't know if that made sense to you, but there it is. I think that is. I've heard that other autistics have a hard time with just the church setting and religion period and interacting with the way the church tends to operate. That a lot of autistics have a really, really hard time with it. I mean, I know most people have a hard time, and you should, because there's something really not good about the institution of the church. But, I'm gonna get some tea. I don't want to cough. I want to read this book that I saw. I was scrolling on bookshop whatever and there's this book called My Disability Is Not Your Prayer Request. I want to read that. I'm reading this book, Rory and Ida. I thought it would be better. It's kind of boring, to be honest. Especially after reading, like, the Julie Andrews memoirs, which are really good. I really enjoyed reading those. But now this one, it's also like a memoir type thing, but it's just very boring. The way they write it, or he wrote it. I tend to say they, even if I know whose gender I'm talking about. I don't know why. I've always done that. I say they a lot, even if I'm talking about one person. I don't know what the deal with that is. It's nice having a name for what I've been feeling, how I've been experiencing the world around me this whole time. Like I'm not making things up, or like, I don't say that like there's nothing wrong with me, you know? There's a place, you know? I need some more tea. Actually, I might just stop here, because the video is getting quite long, so I like this cup. I think this is the first teacup I got. It's from a thrift store. I always wonder when I get them, like, if they're special. I mean, by the prices, maybe probably not. But sometimes I wonder. Because sometimes there's, like, rare plates and things. I wonder if it's, like, I secretly have something valuable. The other day, I was, like, digging through old pennies. Because I saw a TikTok of something about rare coins or something. I was like, what if I have one? I started digging through my pennies. Alas, I don't. But, you know, I tried. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.